Let's talk about the narrative breaking. We've got the story from NBC News. Marvel actor Evangeline Lilly shares that she attended anti-vaccine mandate rally. The anti-vaccination mandate rally held Sunday made headlines because of comments from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. comparing policies to the Holocaust. And even after that, Evangeline Lilly was still willing to publicly come out and be like, yo, I was there because I believe in this. Evangeline Lilly, you rock. You are awesome. You did a great job in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Big fan. And for you to come out now and stand up for what you believe in the face of this psychotic media, going after everybody, smearing people, lying about people, that is brave. That is principled. I respect it. And it shows for everybody else. You know, when Hollywood celebrities start coming out and saying, nah, that's good news.
Yep.
The narrative's broken.
Yeah, also, I mean, of course, you know, Holocaust comparisons between the Holocaust and events where no one is being killed are so tired at this point that even pointing out that they're tired is tired. Yeah, people are losing their minds over it, but it's like everyone does it all the time. I mean, it happens way more often on the left, but it's so banal at this point. But, you know, I mean, good for her for standing up for the truth and being willing to say, yeah, I was at this mandate. These are my actual values. Because there are a lot of celebrities, I'm sure, who can see through this stuff. I have some faith that there are at least some of them who are capable of it, but they're just not saying anything.
Yeah, it's the government jumped the shark. That's that idea from like a TV show, and the TV show's just gone too far. It's had too many new adoptions of little kids to, you know, whatever. It comes from Happy Days when I think they literally jumped a shark on a motorcycle, just trying to one-up themselves over and over. It gets so far, they're like, well, the show's jumped the shark. Mm-hmm. The government's jumped the shark. We know it because we've been watching, and we can relate it to 20 years ago or 15 years ago. But young kids that see it aren't going to realize that this is too far, and they might think that it's normal. This is just how government works.
Evangeline Lilly's got 2.2 million followers, and she posted a picture of Vax Democrat for Medical Freedom. Wow. She said, I was in D.C. this weekend to support bodily sovereignty while Canadian truckers were rallying for their cross-country peaceful convoy in support of the same thing. Yo, this is epic. I believe nobody should ever be forced to inject their body with anything against their will, under threat of violent attack, arrest or detention without trial, loss of employment, homelessness, starvation, loss of education, alienation from loved ones, excommunication from society, under any threat whatsoever. This is not the way. This is not safe. It is not healthy. This is not love. I understand the world is in fear, but I don't believe that answering fear with force will fix our problems. I was pro-choice before COVID. I'm still pro-choice today. Bravo, Evangeline Lilly. That was an epic post. And brave, that is, you know what? You know what, guys? Stunning and brave.
Indeed. Yes. Yes, it is.
It was all based until that last sentence, but you know, I'm glad she's speaking out about being pro-choice in any capacity. But I hear what she's saying, and it's great because these are the people who want to spend all of their time claiming that they stand with the working class, and then when you have truckers who are working class and are in many ways, like quite literally the backbone of the economy, if there's one group you're going to point to and say we can make a solid case that we absolutely need these people, it's truckers. And so for them to be thrown under the bus and for us to look the other way, especially people on the left who are constantly harping on about like how empathetic they are and how much they care about the working class is ridiculous. So good for her. I mean, she's doing what they claim they're supposed to do.
Well, and Ian, to your point on jumping the shark and passing the moment, like I think Biden first of all, let's flash, back in time when the Biden administration used to say, oh yeah, we can't do a mandate. That's just something we can't do legally. And then lo and behold, they put the mandate in place. Yep. But lo and behold, the Supreme Court says, no, actually you can't. And now they're repealing their OSHA mandate. So I think the wave is crested as far as the mandates are concerned. And I have to say, this was an anti-mandate rally, which is contrary to what I think it was CNN or MSNBC. I forget what I said. They said it was an anti-vaccine rally. I'm like, no, you obviously don't understand. This is about the mandates.
No, they do. They're just lying.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Liars.
They are. They're liars.
Thank you for the correction.
That's exactly what
You're
it is.
They're lying. You know. I'm watching this, and we have Marvel references, and what just comes to mind with the mainstream narrative is that scene from the new Spider-Man movie where Doctor Strange is trying to contain the spell, but it's out of control, and then it just erupts. And I'm like, that is the truth. That is reality. And they're desperately trying to contain it, and it just breaks free, and then it shatters the multiverse, and then reality comes breaking through. Not in that movie. I don't know. A bunch of weirdos showed up like Spider-Man from other movies. But my point is, the narrative can't be contained. They're trying as hard as they can. It's an anti-vax protest of racists and white supremacists. And then Evangeline Lilly is just like, nah.
That's why you got to stay alive, all of you. It's important right now, as hard as things might seem, stay alive because it is shattering and twisting open this It's inevitable.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's really cause for hope here. The fact that they have to tie themselves into knots over this. When they have to lie about how large your movement is and how large the protests are, in a lot of ways, you're in good shape. It's a good problem to have. It really is, because people are waking up to it. Imagine the alternative. Imagine if we had to pretend that our protests were far larger than they were. Whoever has to lie about the numbers is losing.
Trump always was like, huge. My rallies
they
were
huge. His rallies were massive.
So a lot of them were really big, but I mean, you know, when they come out after the inauguration, and it wasn't nearly that big, it was big, and then they were like the biggest ever. It's like, well, if you include streaming numbers, then yes. But everybody's always trying to promote themselves, and I certainly understand why. But the media does the opposite. I remember I think it was during Occupy Wall Street, this funny thing happened where a local news station was covering one of the protests, like a peripheral protest in some city. And the camera guy, we actually watched him wait until the end of the protest and then start filming when there was like 7 people. And then there were like people were sharing it. Look at this video of their report, and it was like the protest was quite small, and it shows like that's what they do.
No, so I remember when I was a child, my parents would sometimes take my siblings and I to pray outside of either abortion clinics or, in one case, Christ Hospital, because they were performing abortions there, despite the name of the hospital. Wow. And media came up and started asking questions. And as a little child, I'm naive. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if they ask us questions and we're going to be on TV? And my dad says, Shay, they only go to old people. They only talk to the old people here. They don't want anyone to think that there are young people interested in the pro-life movement. They have to curate a very specific image about who's interested in this.
That sounds pretty legit.
Oh, my father's very legit.
Introduce him to us.
Well, where do we go from here?
We just keep doing what we're doing. We keep having a movement so strong that they need to lie about how many people believe in it.
I usually think like, okay, if this is true, the narrative is shattering and, you know, base reality is coming back to fruition. Now it's our chance to craft base reality. We can kind
build
of decide
back better.
What's it going to look like?
Do you want to do a great
build
reset?
Build back greater, Seamus. I'm not in with this World Economic Forum thing.
I wonder if this will precipitate some other people coming out, though. You know, Evangeline Lilly. Is this because we're seeing, you know, Bill Maher, Barry Weiss, and other liberals now signal to the left, like, hey, it's safe now. You can come out of hiding.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. That's the Barry Weiss thing. I is maybe as cringe as you had pointed out. It comes a year late. I'm still glad it happened because it was so high profile.
Well, the question is whether she's going to get canceled.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know at this point.
I mean, they might try, but I don't think so, because her attitude is very defiant. She doesn't care. You know what I mean? It's when people immediately become demure and back down, you know they don't mean it. But I mean, it looks like she really means it. I think I don't think she just posted this image. I think she made a video about it. But let me pull up her Instagram and we'll take a look.
You know what else? I'd kind of like to suggest this. I haven't looked into this because the thought just came to me, but I would be curious to see how likely these large studios are to refuse to work with famous celebrities when their stock price is down. Because right now the market's not doing too great, and I wonder if that gives leverage to entertainers and performers.
Maybe.
I bet it does, yeah.
Well, when the industry is flopping, you know, we had Christian Toto on talking about Hollywood freaking out. When Hollywood's losing their power and everyone's in panic because they're aging out, the movies aren't making as much money. I mean, these Marvel movies are blockbusters. They're massive. They're billion-dollar movies. But the industry itself, it looks like it's in a downward trajectory outside of that. Everything's consolidating. Originality is on the decline. You know, wokeness. It may be even that people have finally realized get woke, go broke. You know, there was a story about the new Superman comic I was reading from Bounding into Comics. The new Superman comic where Superman's son is bisexual. It sold like half what the other one sold. Now, I don't know. We talked about it. Some were saying it's because the companies decide to sell less to a comic book store or something like that. But I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know the nitty gritty of this, but I do know that people are complaining about it. They don't want to buy it. You know, if the fans don't like it, they don't buy it. So maybe that stuff's having an impact. And now people, Hollywood celebrities might just be like, it doesn't matter anymore because this whole narrative from the left is ineffective. It loses money. When you look at, and it could even be as simple as Joe Biden's approval rating. People look and they're like, Democrats are not popular and they're retiring in mass. I'm jumping ship before it's too late.
Also, like you said earlier, Carrie, the Omicron changed the terrain. It basically changed the layout of what's going on with COVID. It's a less deadly, more contagious, or I don't even know. Is it
endemic?
More contagious?
Yeah, it's endemic.
Now.
It's more contagious. It's more mild. But to your point on Hollywood, The Chosen And if y'all haven't seen The Chosen, you need to see The Chosen. It's free. You guys know about The Chosen?
I've heard good things.
Okay, so The Chosen is a serial video series about the life of Christ. And it was the most successful crowdfunded movie project ever. And it was just Christians who wanted to have the story of Jesus told. And that, it's with acting, and it's just very well done. It's incredible. The details, it's sort of like fan fiction, but it's actually, based on the Bible, not making a bunch of stuff up. But they then, because the serial, like they released it basically like a TV series, they then decided to do a Christmas special in box office. And it actually, this past Christmas season, it just came out in box office. It actually, the opening weekend per theater shattered all the big Hollywood films, including they defeated on revenue per theater House of Gucci, which was like this, huge money suck. So it was incredible, and that just shows. And I actually interviewed the executive producer of The Chosen. I said, "How did you guys slay the giant here? Like, how did you guys do this?" And they said, "Well, it's just the content." And I said, "Well, I'm sure now at this point, as you were so successful, you've been approached by big houses." And he said, "Yeah, but we're not going to surrender. We're not going to give that up, because they're going to try to pervert what we want to preach, which is the gospel of Jesus, and they're giving it away for free." And their goal is to have it in the hands, I think, of 2 billion people. I mean, they've already had hundreds of millions of people have viewed this, so it's incredible.
Yeah, good for them. We were sort of speaking about Hollywood and the fact that they're failing, and I think obviously a huge reason why new companies like this are becoming successful is because there's a niche in the market that needs to be filled. People don't want to be preached at, or ironically, even when they do want to be preached at, they at least want it to be entertaining. And I think there are obviously ways of spreading Christian morals and messages that don't come off as preaching, which are genuinely entertaining. Now, when it comes to whether traditional Hollywood is going to be able to turn this spiral around and climb back up, I think the answer is probably no. And the reason that I'm saying that, it's not just out of a sense of optimism here, and I could be wrong, but I don't think this is a group of people who on the individual level are interested in success. I believe because of their ideology, they see themselves as victims, and they're satisfied complaining about how corrupt the system is when they fail, so they don't need to get a taste of success.
I think these are, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to the establishment left and the media, these are people who are only satisfied if someone else tells them they're worthy. So that's why they all just virtue signal to each other. But eventually that group becomes so broken and just brittle that they have no choice but to seek validation outside of that.
Exactly.
And so I think that's part of what we're seeing. Look, for Evangeline Lilly to come out and say this is amazing, and it's glad to see it's happening among celebrities. Who was there first is the question. Who are the people that were always standing up for people's rights, that always stood on principle, never backed down, never questioned it? Mm-hmm. I mean, those are the people of true principle. So I can certainly say thank you to everybody who's coming around being like, we were wrong about this. It's good to admit you were wrong. Or if you never spoke up about it, speaking up about it now, it's a good thing. Thank you for joining the fray. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important to keep that eye out. Some people are just looking for validation. And if they can't get it anymore because their side has gone nuts, they'll just pretend like they want validation from you. Mm-hmm. Or at least they do want it, and they're desperate for any kind of adoration. Mm-hmm. People who don't know how to think for themselves. So they just say to you, tell me what to say, tell me what to think. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.